Hey, finally, our last law of exponent. So, and that is what happens when you have a variable raised to the -1 power. Boy, is that crooked. Sorry about that. Let's do this. That's not a fraction. I'm just trying to divide it. Okay, so let's say I have x cubed over x squared. So one way of doing it is saying, okay, top power is bigger, so it'd be x to the 3 minus 2, which is x to the first power. Or really, I should be able to go x to the 2 minus 3, which is 1 over x to the -1. Well, since they're both legitimate, that means this is the same as this. So a negative power just means move it to the other place in the fraction. That's all it is. So this is negative, it's on the bottom, so I move it up, and once I've done it, the negative's gone. I've done the operation. So this is 1 over x. This is x. So that's all a negative means, is move it to the other place. So if I have 5 to the -1 power. Now in math, we call that the reciprocal. Now some people call it flipping it. That's, I guess, okay in English, but it's the reciprocal. So negative power just means move it. It's a reminder. It's saying, hey, at some point, move this thing. So it's 1/5. So if I have 6 to the -2 power, it means at some point I need to square it, and some point I need to flip it. So 6 squared is 6 times 6, that's 36, and negative says flip it. So if I have, let's say, 4 over 2 to the -1 power. Now notice there's no parentheses, so the negative is only on the 2. So that means move the 2 to the other place. I have 4 times 2, which is 8. So a negative power just means move it. Move it, move it, move it. So if I have x to the -6 over x to the 10th. Now notice, no parentheses, so the only thing with the negative is the x on the top. So there's a couple ways of doing this. I could do this just with the original law of exponent. When you're dividing two things same base, subtract the smaller from the larger. Or I could say this, I'm going to move this because it has a negative power. So I'd have x to the 6th times x to the 10th on the bottom. So it'd be 1 over x to the 16th. Then, I don't know why I paused there, sorry. So if I have x to the 4th, or let's do -4 just to be exciting, over x to the -3. Now again, I could use the law that says, hey, if you're dividing two things same base, subtract the smaller from the larger, keep it where the larger was. Or I could say, hey, negative power, I need to move it. Negative power, I need to move it. So I'm going to move this one on up, but once I move it, I've done the operation, so the negative is gone. I need to move this one on down. So it'd be x to the 4th. Now, 3 of these, cancel with 3 of these, so it'd be 1 over x. Okay, I don't know why negative powers a lot of students have trouble with. Let's try a big one here. X to the -6, y to the 7th, z to the -10, x to the -3, y to the 4th, z to 7. Now, personally, most of the time, I like to move it. Wait a minute. I like to move it, move it. Do you like to move it, move it? We like to move it, move it. Now, this is negative power. Now, there are other ways of doing this, but I like to move it in most cases. So I'm going to move this on down. Here, this is a negative power, so I'm going to move it on up. Not a negative power, so I'm not moving that Y. Not a negative power, so I'm not moving it. Negative power, so I'm moving it. Not a negative power, so I'm not going to move it. Now again, if you're having trouble with this, don't panic. We're doing this again. I'm just hoping maybe if you see it, when we do it again, it's not shocking for you. So x cubed, x to the 6, 3 of these cancel with 3 of those. So it's on the bottom. Y to the 7th over y to the 4th would be y cubed. And they're on the same level, so you're multiplying them. So z 10 to z 7, when you multiply two things same base, you add. Hey, now if you want, you could put a 1 here, but don't need to. Now, there's the practice problems. Turn the video off and go ahead and try them, and then I'll do them when you're done. Okay, let's do them. Negative power, I need to move this. So, x to the 4th over x to the 6th. So that would be 1 over x squared. Doink, doink. My video just froze. Sorry about that. I don't know why my video just froze. That was freaky. I was like, ooh, my mind was going in a time warp. Now, you could have done this. Hey, Mr. Murphy, when you're multiplying two things same base, you add. So that would be x to negative 2. Negative 6 plus 4 is negative 2. Negative, take the reciprocal. So either way is fine. Hey, when I'm multiplying two things same base, add. So that'd be x to the 4th. Or you could say, wait a minute, Mr. Murphy. Wait, I'll send negative. I'm going to move it, move it. And when you're dividing two things same base, you subtract the power. So it'd be x to the 4th. Now this one, again, you could say, hey, move both. So it'd be 1 over x cubed, x to the 5th. So it's 1 over x to the 8th. Or you could say, when I'm multiplying two things same base, I add. Negative 3 plus negative 5 is negative 8. Negative in power, flip it. Now this one, I have a product raised to power, so you raise both to that power. So that'd be x to the 18th, y to the negative 15th. Because when you take a base, raise a power, then raise another power, you multiply. Negative power, so I need to move it, or take the reciprocal is technically the right word. A negative power on the 2 means take the reciprocal. Here this would be 9 over 3, because 9 doesn't have a negative, so it stays on top, and 9 divided by 3 is 3. So 4 to the negative 2, 4 squared is 16, negative power, flip it. This one, bring it on down. So it's 1 over x to the 6th, x to the 4th, which would be 1 over x to the 10th. Doink. And this one, again, I could use the rule when you're dividing two things same base. You subtract the smaller from the larger. So it'd be negative 3 minus a negative 5. Or you could say, hey, move this down, move this up. So it's x to the 5th over x cubed, because they both have a negative. So it'd be x squared. Fun, fun, fun. Well, goodbye.